Do we have a representative government in the U.S. if you can be arrested for just talking to elected officials? You know, back in the late 1990s, I co-founded the Stafford Springs, Connecticut Crime Watch. Police threatened me with arrest, being beaten up, having my teeth kicked in, taking my last ride in a police cruiser. That's just for talking to elected officials. And then came 9/11. They can do what they want. I have concerns about Michael Nowacki. He's a former executive for a major network. And he's basically, he's got money. He may have made millions of dollars a year. He's been pictured with famous people. He's exposing the lawyers that run the state of Connecticut. These same people are responsible for what we have for national government, and a lot of these people out of Connecticut rule the world. There's Yale University, there's Big Pharma, there's weapons of mass destruction out of their labs. These people are dangerous. They want to take your money and then enslave you. You're paying to be enslaved. So I did some research, and just the bios of some of these people are scary. There's the Freemasons. What is the Jewish mafia? You're not anti-Semitic if you talk about people who are Jewish. There's also the Irish and Italian mafias in Connecticut and pretty much everywhere else. The grand wizards of the Ku Klux Klan and grand children of the Jewish mafia, the other mafias, they watch their kids play soccer. They interact. They're in state government. They're in federal government. They switch back and forth. They marry each other. So the biggest criminals in the world have official jobs. They run drugs. There's UBS Bank. Check the links. I mean, it is disgusting. People like me can be squashed, disappear, and that's it. I went around. I took some pictures in Lawrence, Mass. There's people literally living under the bridge. I walk around with a camera. I'm followed around, whether I'm in Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, down in Washington, D.C., wherever. I mean, just having a camera and taking pictures of what's going on, you can get into a lot of trouble. I'll be asking Rob Call at Op-Ed News for a press pass. Alex Jones, the James Corbett Report. I used to work for an AM radio station as an investigative reporter. It was a religious network, but it was either Friday or Sunday nights they had Eyes on America, and I was backup host. I would interview, and I had a press pass from them. And I think to support some of the independent news, if citizens paid, like, say, a $40 fee to have a press pass, and it was listed as contractor on the press pass, then they wouldn't have liability. They could also say what your rights are as a journalist, and more people could be on the street with video cameras and just regular digital cameras, taking pictures of what they see and posting it. So there is a real push, with ACTA to prevent citizens from posting on blogs. The major networks want to post their corporate international bankster bullshit, and we want the truth. Also, Hollywood, their movies, they're a corporation. They don't want independent film out there. They don't want any independent entities out there. They have a monopoly, and they're out to fuck you over and then spew the bullshit propaganda of the international corporations and banks. Fight back, interact with each other, support each other, and there should be community theater, there should be independent journalists, and look in your legislature. Who are your elected officials? I did some research. The Masons, all these organizations of just pure just jackasses. They have oaths to each other before the U.S. Constitution. I'll link to that. They care about enriching each other. If you go and talk to them, they're all connected. They don't want anything outside to succeed. So people like me, as soon as I walk in, I have basically a police escort, and I'm basically terrorized and intimidated just for showing up at a town hall, state capitol in Hartford. You can show up to Washington, D.C. If you have public corruption to expose, you'll get arrested. Your family will be broken up. You lose your job, your house, your reputation, everything. They have a certain way of just fucking you over and ruining your life. You know, I may have some form of post-traumatic stress from basically feeling like I was on the run. Work more than 20 years, invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in investment properties to fix them up from a boarded up condition, and the police are after me, and so are the members of the court. They're a mafia. They'll use prostitutes, drug dealers, criminals, vandals to help put a citizen who is a small businessman in jail. I was threatened with never seeing my daughter again by a police informant. I'm like, fuck you. But they use people with mental disorders to go after citizens who have small businesses or who are outspoken. I was asked by police to be an informant to wreck other people's lives. So from the early 1990s, they were stringing up cameras from telephone poles, microphones, and basically spying on people illegally, tapping phones, reading your emails. This is before 9/11. So these bastards have been at it for a long time. A friend of mine who's now deceased talked about a Hartford, Connecticut school. It's a public school. It's in the shape of a cross. It has a Vatican coat of arms that are hidden behind a group of trees. The Chinese language was set to be taught at this public school. And this is before 9/11, and people that were part of the school were told, you know, shut up about it, be quiet. Basically threatened for talking about it. So these important banker, international corporations, and whomever the hell they are, why would they know that Chinese language was needed for before 9/11 to interact? They're basically sinking the United States. We're not at war with China, whatever else. You know, they basically subbed out what they want to China and fuck everybody else in the U.S. So all these rich, less than 1%, if you look over time what they're doing in states and towns and to the country, you know, draw some conclusions for yourself. Do your own research. They are out to fuck you over.